Hi, friends. Today we're going to read a very special story called Flat Stanley. It is written by Jeff Brown and illustrated by Scott Nash. Let's visualize before we read the story, though. What do we think is going to happen? It's called Flat Stanley. I only see one of his legs here. This other one is tucked behind the door, it looks like. What do we think going to happen or what did happen to Flat Stanley? Was he always flat? Hmm. Let's find out, kiddos. Chapter 1, The Big Bulletin Board. Breakfast was ready. I will go wake the boys, Mrs. Lambchop said to her husband, George Lambchop. Just then their younger son, Arthur, called from the bedroom he shared with his brother Stanley. Hey, come and look! Hey, shouted Arthur. Mr. and Mrs. Lambchop were both very much in favor of politeness and careful speech. Politeness is being respectful. Hay is for horses, Arthur, not people, Mr. Lambchop said as they entered the bedroom. Try to remember that. Excuse me, Arthur said, but look! He pointed to Stanley's bed. Across it lay the enormous bulletin board that Mr. Lambchop had given the boys a Christmas ago so that they could pin up pictures and messages and maps. Enormous means large or grand. It had fallen during the night on top of Stanley. But Stanley was not hurt. In fact, he would still have been sleeping if he had not been woken up by his brother shouting. What's going on here? He called out cheerfully from beneath the enormous board. No. Mr. and Mrs. Lambchop hurried to lift it from the bed. Heavens, said Mrs. Lambchop. Gosh, said Arthur. Stanley's flat. As a pancake, said Mr. Lambchop. Darnest thing I've ever seen. Let's all have breakfast, Mrs. Lambchop said. Then Stanley and I will go see Dr. Dan and hear what he has to say. In his office, Dr. Dan examined Stanley all over. It means to look over when you examine something. How do you feel? He asked. Does it hurt very much? I felt sort of tickly for a while after I got up, Stanley Lambchop said, but I feel fine now. Well, that's mostly how it is with these cases, says Mr. Dan. We'll just have to keep an eye on this young fellow, he said when he had finished the examination. Sometimes we doctors, despite all our years of training and experience, can only marvel at how little we really know. Marvel means wonder. Mrs. Lambchop said she thought Stanley's clothes would have to be altered by the tailor now. So Dr. Dan told his nurse to take Stanley's measurements. Mrs. Lambchop wrote them down. Stanley has 4 feet tall, about a foot wide, and a half an inch thick. All right, we'll have to continue on with chapter 2, kiddos. I hope you enjoyed that first chapter.